Numerous Toyota executives have claimed over the past 12 months, and in fact the past few years, that the future of the entire automotive industry is not electric. Hell no. It's actually going to be powered by hydrogen engine cars, and hydrogen fuel cell vehicles. That's the future. They say that electric car sales will never, ever go above 30% market share. In California, you can currently get a Toyota Mirai, the new model, the 2025 model, basically for free. They are $15,000. They used to be $60,000, but you get a $15,000 fuel card, right? So basically you're paying nothing, plus you get 0% interest. However, very hard to find one today because as far as I can tell, it looks like Toyota have actually stopped selling the Mirai, or essentially they're just selling off the stock they already have on the dealer lots. And that's not just the United States, it's also the UK. In the UK, people are actually trying to get test drives, and Toyota says there's so much demand for the Toyota Mirai, we can't offer you a test drive, sorry. And that's the case for all dealers across all of the UK. I did a story about that, Toyota just making stuff up, saying they're in such high demand, the Mirai in the UK, that no, you're not allowed to test drive it. Can I buy one? Well, you can, but it's free. No, I don't know. Anyway. So the crazy part about all of this is that Toyota is still ignoring the fact that customers have a class action lawsuit against them because they feel like they've made the worst financial decision of their lives. A lot of these people paid $60,000 or $70,000 US for these vehicles and they can't drive them. There was about 56 hydrogen refueling stations open in California. Shell, though, they shut theirs down because they just weren't making a profit. They were making such a huge loss on them. They were breaking down all the time. Very common they break down all the time. There's always breakdowns. You think EV chargers are not reliable? Try a hydrogen refueling station. It's an entirely different level of unreliability. Shell just went, you know what? Sunk cost bias be damned. We're going to shut them down. They shut them down so they're not bleeding money. But that meant there's actually now very few refueling stations left in California. So many people are having massive anxiety. You can't refuel your hydrogen vehicle at home, can you? You can't charge it into a plug wherever you are. You've got to find a station, and the station numbers are dwindling. But the other problem is that hydrogen fuel is now 14 times more expensive than, say, charging your Tesla EV or your whatever EV you've got. 14 times more. You might be thinking to yourself, this is clickbait, but actually this information is coming to you from Hydrogen Insight. Now, Hydrogen Insight obviously have a vested interest. This website is actually really professional, very well done, but they have a vested interest. They're basically trying to sell a hydrogen future. And even they are saying this is an enormous problem. They've done the research. They say it is currently 14 times more expensive to drive a Toyota Mirai in California than a comparable electric car after a massive hydrogen fuel price hike, according to calculations by Hydrogen Insight themselves. California's largest hydrogen fuel retailer, True Zero, which operates 37 of the 53 hydrogen filling stations in the state, and some of those have been shut down since, recently hiked the price of hydrogen at all of its pumps to $36 per kilogram, up from $30 per kilogram, but actually up from about $12 per kilogram a few years ago. As recently as April 2021, the price was about $12 per kilogram. At the new price, filling a Toyota Mirai's 5.6 kilogram tank costs $201.60. That means it's 50 cents per mile, according to the Japanese automaker's claimed driving range of 400 miles. Now, you're not going to get 400 miles. No one is getting that kind of range unless you drive like an 87-year-old grandma, 647 kilometers. You're not going to get that. From what I've actually seen, you're going to get closer to 300 miles. So actually, then the price is becoming closer to 65 cents per mile. By way of comparison, fully charging a 60 kilowatt hour Tesla Model 3 in California costs around $11.94. That's if you use a DC fast charger and you don't charge at home, which is often free. Now that's based on the latest average electricity prices with an official range of 333 miles on a full battery. It therefore costs 3.6 cents per mile, 3.6 cents. Now, the new Tesla Model 3 has been upgraded. It actually has 363 miles of range. It has 30 more miles of range. But anyhow, that makes it 14 times cheaper to run than a Toyota Mirai, which is by far the most common fuel cell car in the state. Now, those numbers are completely wildly inaccurate because probably 1% of Tesla owners or 1% of EV owners actually fast charge their car every day. I mean, most people charge it elsewhere, right? Most. At least 9 out of 10 people charge at home. And it's much cheaper than using a supercharger. It's also much cheaper than using a supercharger if you're charging using solar from your own roof. In fact, for me, it's free. So I never pay anything. I mean, yeah. But anyway, you get the point, right? If you charge at a DC fast charger, it's 14 times more expensive to drive a hydrogen-fueled car. For Tesla owners with cheap overnight electricity, of course, it's much cheaper. Now, interestingly, it appears as Hydrogen Insider encouraging people to buy Tesla Model 3s. They say the Tesla Model 3, the biggest selling electric vehicle in California, costs a lot less to buy in the state than a Toyota Mirai. With federal and state incentives, the Model 3 is now available for $25,000 US dollars, $40,000 without incentives, compared to $50,000 for the Mirai. Although Toyota is providing buyers with $15,000 worth of hydrogen with a free fuel card, which has been a major selling point, says Hydrogen Insight. Now, obviously, the price of the Mirai now has come down to $15,000, so the Mirai is now much cheaper than any car in America. True Zero's price hike has not gone down well with owners of the Mirai, which are furious. They say this is outrageous price gouging. Another person said, "This is insane. I hate this car." Another one said, "This was the worst financial decision of my life." Keep in mind that this is just the tip of the iceberg, because refueling your car is a nightmare. I mean, these refueling stations are very commonly broken and shut down. And it's also very common that the hydrogen pump actually freezes and gets stuck to your car, which is a nightmare. At this rate, said one owner, my $7,000 left in my gas card will be out by early next year. Now, Toyota said that these gas cards, $15,000 free hydrogen cards, $15,000 would last for 3 years. But really, that's not true, obviously. I've only had the car since last November. I'm just going to count my losses when the gas card is gone. Time to move on to full electric and charge for free at work. It sounds a lot easier to me too. A third of true hydrogen supply is green, they say, but 2/3 is made from unabated fossil gas. While fluctuations in the price of natural gas could have affected the cost of producing the hydrogen, gas procurement prices in California have actually fallen dramatically from record highs at the start of the year. In a recent letter to True Zero customers, the company said the price rise was due to continued cost pressure on the hydrogen supply chain and low carbon credit values compared to historical levels. We apologize for the inconvenience and remain committed to reducing the price of hydrogen as soon as feasible, it said. In November last year, the average hydrogen price at the pump in California was $21 US per kilogram, a 33% increase compared to $16 per kilogram in July of 2022. According to Alternative Fuels website, gplautogas.info, the average price of hydrogen at the pump in Germany is around $15 US per kilogram. So it's still much more expensive in the United States than it is in Germany, but it's still much cheaper to have an electric car, and that applies to probably every country in the world. California is the only state in the United States with publicly accessible hydrogen refueling stations. So if you own a Toyota Mirai, then, well, you can't travel outside of California. In fact, you can't travel to a lot of places, even inside California either. According to the California-based Hydrogen Fuel Cell Partnership, 17,284 fuel cell cars have been sold or leased in the state. From the numbers that I can see, there's probably about 18,000 hydrogen fuel cell cars that are on US roads at the moment. Now, I believe it'll be a couple of years' time and most of those will be put to pasture. They'll be useless because people just won't want to own them. It just doesn't make any sense. It's way too expensive to run them. It's just an absolute nightmare. Toyota, though, still believes the future of the world is hydrogen. Do you agree with them? Let me know what your thoughts are in the comment section.